direct question to you, Abhishek ji, for the viewers, that what was your approach to deal with the prelims?
See, there are two things. Generally, toppers say some things like the preparation of prelims and mains goes together, and you have to study for only 2 months or even 1 month, or some people say even 15 days is enough. I personally, most humbly, would beg to differ because I don't subscribe to these opinions. See, I say that preparation for prelims and mains is quite different, quite separate, but it has to go for the entire year. I'll explain, I'll elaborate. See, what I did was I made my own notes. First of all, I did not rely on any coaching's notes, any material that is available in the market. So for that, you have to study the newspaper religiously entirely and for the entire year. And I made my notes separately for prelims as well as main. That is why I said preparation goes all the year round, but separately. My prelims notes were separate, mains notes were separate. What I did was, when you are reading the newspaper, you have to keep an eye out for questions that can be asked in prelims. That you will develop a knack for it by reviewing the last year's questions or previous year's questions. So I can give you an example. For example, there is this terrorist group, Boko Haram. It is active in Nigeria. It is in news for at least once a month. So any day of the year, any prelims, this question can appear. But you cannot rely on coachings completely that their material will cover this. You should be able to identify when you read this in newspaper and put it in your prelims notes separately. That is what I did. First thing. So I made my notes separately for every topic, for history, politics, geography, economy, whatever relevant thing is coming in the newspaper or current affairs, that I put in my notes right on that very day. I didn't revise those notes very frequently, but in the last 3-4 months before the prelims, I did revise. I didn't revise them all year round because that is not necessary. Secondly, what I did was that I said that I did not use any coaching's notes for the entire year, but I relied on websites to cover the prelims relevant information daily. So the daily current affairs that is coming, I made notes out of those in my Evernote. And then what I did was that 15 questions daily from whatever website you want to do on current affair, and make those notes. And that way, by the day of the exam, you should have completed 6,000 objective questions for the entire year and made notes out of those and revised those notes. Other than that, there is enough conventional wisdom available online for the book list that needs to be covered for the prelims. That was the core strategy. Secondly, how do you attempt the paper? You attempt the paper in 3 iterations. In the first iteration, you do those questions, you mark those questions which you are entirely sure of. They come to around 40 to 45 or 50 questions, or at max 55 questions. In the first iteration itself, you mark those questions which you are dicey about. I mean, you're 50-50 sure, or 60-40, 70-30 kind of surety. As well as those questions which you are completely unsure of, you will strike them out right away and you will never look at them in the paper again. So the idea is that you have to mark 55 questions in the first iteration, 20 to 25 questions in the second iteration, and if there are leftover questions to reach the benchmark of 85 to 90 questions, then you will mark them in the third iteration. Your target should be to finish 85 to 90 questions in 2 hours and solve the paper in 3 iterations. That's it. So that is how you deal with the negative marking, and never ever make guesses for 5-6 questions. If you're going to make guesses, make them for 20 to 30 questions. That way your probabilistic benefit, the probability of you benefiting, will increase.
Yes, I think very rightly pointed out. And Abhishek ji, taking notice of your whatever observation you have made, in KSG we provide to our classroom program students daily tests, and in which we provide them 15 to 20 questions related to current affairs, related to NCRTs and whatnot.